Okay, Mr. Mayor, we are live and ready when you are.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Seldovia City Council, Monday, February 9th, 2026. Time is 6:07 p.m. We'll go ahead and do roll call. Keithley?
Here?
I'm going to show Langbart as absent for now. Coleman?
Here.
Taylor?
Here.
Peyton? You there, Harmony?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yep, I got you. And Barber?
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum. We have 5 out of 6 present tonight. And again, we'll show Langbart as absent as of now. Liz or Heidi, if you could start us off in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Excused absences. I know Meg had said originally she was gonna be gone tonight, and then she had planned on joining us. So for right now, we'll just leave her as excused unless she decides to join us. Item D, agenda approval. I'll go ahead and look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Keithley to approve tonight's agenda with a second by Coleman. Any further discussion on the approval of tonight's agenda before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go and vote on the approval of tonight's agenda. All those in favor, Keithley?
Aye.
Coleman?
Aye.
Taylor?
Aye.
Peyton? Harmony?
Aye.
Okay. And Barber?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes with 5 in the affirmative, none opposed, and 1 absent. That'll move us to item item E, which is our consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are approved with a single motion, no discussion, and 1 vote. A council member may request to remove any item for discussion and a separate vote. Items removed from the consent agenda will be placed under new business. Tonight's consent agenda consists of item 1, approval of the minutes from the regular meeting, January 26th, 2026, and those can be found on page 5 of your packet. Item 2A, ordinance introduction for ordinance 26-10, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, amending Seldovia Municipal Code chapters 2.04, City Council, 2.08, Mayor, and 2.32 elections to change the regular election date and provide for appointment of a mayor pro tempore. And that's also recommended for a public hearing on February 23rd. Second ordinance introduction will be item 2B, ordinance 26-11, a non-code ordinance of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget to provide for necessary mid-year adjustments by appropriating the remaining community assistance program funds for the general fund, council for the water special revenue fund, capital projects, and adopting a volunteer fire and EMS special revenue fund budget. That's also recommended for a public hearing on February 23rd, 2026. That is what we have on our consent agenda tonight. Does any member wish to remove any item for separate discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll look for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
I make a
I'll make
motion
that.
to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Barber to approve tonight's consent agenda with a second by Taylor. Any further discussion on the consent agenda before we vote? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of tonight's consent agenda. All those in favor, Keithley. Coleman,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
and Barber.
Aye.
Motion passes with 5 in the affirmative, none opposed, and 1 absent. Okay, that takes us down to item F, mayoral proclamations, none. Item G, public presentation prior notice, none. Item H, public presentation for items not on the agenda. Do we have anyone signed up tonight?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. That was item H. Item I, committee and advisory board reports. We have none scheduled. Item J, administrative reports, none. Item K, public hearings, none. Item L, unfinished business, none. Item M, new business, none. And item N, city manager's report. And this will be in your laydown packet.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll try to take you guys through this pretty quickly. A few updates on our projects in the laydown. Number 2, Jack Loft Uplands application. We did receive a response from per some of council's comments and concerns regarding the entry authorization form. Those comments consisted of that there are no cleanup guidelines. However, the city would be liable for anything left on the property upon lease termination. Number 2, they don't see any issue with continued parking, but we can certainly clarify that in the EA if it would reassure the city. And number 3, they spoke with the statewide abatement of impaired lands today, and she said that a phase 1 environmental assessment would be fine to conduct. If you're looking for liability coverage, an environmental baseline stipulation would need to be included in your lease. We've talked about needing some additional funds appropriated in the future, still waiting to see what those would look like. If those answers are those satisfy the council's questions, we can go ahead and sign that entry authorization this week and start moving forward. So please let me know if you want me to pause or otherwise I will continue to proceed as you guys provided by motion at the last meeting. Number 3, raw water transmission line. We did receive a 65% design, and I was able to review that as well as bring Public Works in to review. Oh, sorry, they reviewed a different one. With the raw water transmission line, we did review that and reviewed that with staff. It looked great. It's going to ADC. It has both options in there right now to replace the line where it exists or to move it to the easement, just in case something doesn't work out with the University of Alaska. As you know, the last we heard from them a couple of weeks ago is that they are preparing the easement for signature. So that sounds like that should go through and make it a little bit easier for future maintenance in that area. The fuel facility improvements project, the draft RFP for the design build was again extended at the request of, we had a couple of different requests from interested parties to extend it. We did have a site visit. We had some questions that were asked that we responded to and posted. There does seem like there is some interest there. So we're hoping on the 23rd that we'll receive a couple of great proposals to review and then hopefully we can select one and move forward. A lot of these other projects remain status quo. I did say at the last meeting that we received the 65% design for both stormwater projects. That is definitely one that I sat down with Public Works last week and did a thorough review. They had some questions and some suggestions. We sent that back and those items will go into the 95% design, but those two are also going to ADEC, those 65% level design documents. So that's great that those are moving ahead. On 15, unfortunately, we were not awarded the funds for upgrading the radios for our fire and EMS department. We did receive some good feedback, and the number one was that The application requested to upgrade equipment instead of replacing equipment. And apparently that was looked at as we already had equipment that was adequate and we just wanted to upgrade it. So was suggested apply again, but make sure you specify replacing equipment. So, okay, we'll go that route. The ATS cybersecurity project was completed last week. ATS was here in town. They were able to connect the networks from the harbor, city office, and multi-purpose building. It's pretty smooth connection. This will allow us to consolidate our internet services, consolidate our phone services, as well as provide some of those additional securities that were recommended in our risk assessment. So that's very exciting. We didn't realize, or it hadn't fully come to thought until they were here, that we could also connect the water treatment plant. So we're going to work on that. And then we'll be fully integrated. And again, that's another phone line and another internet service that we don't need once that's connections made. So that's the next step, is to connect the water treatment plant and then to finish that consolidation and just hopefully have a really streamlined system moving forward. Our City Clerk Diamond is pretty excited with it so far. I think we all are, but I keep hearing, "Oh, this is so nice. This is so nice." So it's been advantageous.
I am very excited.
We had some support from Trout Unlimited for the Denali Commission supporting USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service programs and partners. So much that they wanted to help write a proposal and provide funding for the design and engineering of the Fish Creek Dam project. So they submitted a proposal on behalf of the city in January with help of Paul Zico, with NOAA. And so that sounded very promising. I think it was like $300,000 for that engineering and design, but it'll take care of that portion of the project and will just look better moving forward. So we hope to hear good things about that. AML was seeking community input regarding the state seasonal sales tax proposal and for a House Finance Committee meeting last week. Councilmember Keithley graciously wrote up a letter to present to AML to submit so that they could talk about that, and that's in your packet here, so you guys can see that. I did hear a response and follow up with AML after the meeting that it did not sound like there was a lot of support for that proposal at this time. VPSO vehicle fuel expenses have been billed to APIA this year. That was something in talking with them that they made sure to put in their budget with the multiple vehicles going around, and we've paid for vehicle expenses in the past years, but they felt they could float that this year, and so just in partnership with them working out those different expenses. So they've been billed and we'll continue to bill them, but I just wanted to let you guys know that is happening, as well as our safety committee monthly meetings continue. So we had a great one last week, and that'll help us with our staff meeting tomorrow morning and also with future or upcoming training opportunities. I had also mentioned that there's a 2-day in-person training through our insurance company, APRA, and it's a 4-day training, but that might be a little long for 2 of us to attend. But Layla was really interested in a 10-hour OSHA training, and I would like to attend the HR management. They're free. We were among the first 30 to sign up, so they give 2 free hotel rooms or 2 nights hotel for each person. So we're planning on attending that, and that will also go back towards our insurance credit and hopefully just be really beneficial for the both of us. Public Works Fund, the 2% transfer is being assessed. I had initially anticipated it being about 44,000. Finance Officer Yeager looked at it today, and it's actually about 42, which is why we both look at it and are able to work those numbers out. But we have concurred that it's a little bit over $42,000. I could tell you the exact amount. It's in my email, but I don't have it right in front of me. And that will be, she's just double checking it one more time. And as long as we're both in concurrence with that, that will be transferred this week to that Public Works Fund. The FY26 congressional direct spending requests were announced. They were included in the FY26 appropriation bill that just passed in the last couple weeks. And that included $482,000 for Jack Law. So that's an additional resource for funding in case we have overages or trouble or who knows what's going to happen with that project. The nice thing about this is that these funds take a while to access, like a year to a year and a half. So, you know, maybe we don't end up needing them since we did receive funds from the Denali Commission, but it's nice to know that they are here. That way, if we do need them and as we get into the end of the project, it should hopefully coincide very nicely and those funds will be available because especially with the project being delayed further out, we know things are just getting more and more expensive. So that'll be nice to have access to those funds. We also believe that we were included in the AML heavy equipment bundle. And I believe we asked for the backhoe. I think we asked for both. But I was told you get one. And so I think the backhoe was the top priority for that one. They're double checking to make sure which one we put in for the highest priority, but it sounds like here when those funds are released again, it can take a while. We may be able to buy a piece of heavy equipment. So that's exciting. And I'll let you know as I confirm and as that firms up and I know more. Speaking of the FY27 congressional direct spending requests portal is open. So we'll be submitting those priorities that the city council set to them this week. And as you know, we already submitted for the state. Those priorities went in. Our AML asset management cohort ended January 31st. I think I've talked about this a little bit. It hasn't been on the complete forefront, but it's come up a time or two that I was part of this cohort with AML and did this class, and they provided a spreadsheet and we were able to build out an asset management inventory. And it's really cool looking. I'm happy to share it with anybody anytime they want to see it. And I'm hoping to be able to bring it forward when we talk about some capital project funding here during the budget cycle. The stormwater pipes are not in it yet. I have that list. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and put them in. As well as some of the figures are outdated or more guesstimates. And I think they'll get firmer as we continue to work with this program, but it puts in estimates all the way up to 2075 for costs. So it's a little daunting at first, but really cool kind of to see things spread out. And if you want to get on a good replacement schedule for some things we probably will never be able to afford on our own, like water and sewer, but for other things, it's kind of a neat tool to be able to see what that would look like. Seldovia Planning Commission had their regular meeting last Wednesday. They discussed a public hearing, officer ordinance, and requested further information on different types of proceedings. So that'll come back at their March meeting. They also discussed a 2026 work plan, and part of that included as the comprehensive plan states now, the draft comprehensive plan of review of the zoning districts in the city and housing needs assessment. So those seem to be some of the top priorities for the commission. And they'll meet again in March to discuss that. Well, maybe not the work plan will be continuing on, but to discuss next steps forward. We are also waiting to hear back we have final public comments from the comprehensive plan. We didn't receive a lot of them, but we're waiting to make a plan with AML how to finish that up. We have a meeting Friday morning to do that. Quick SBFD update. If you're interested in what's happening with the fire department, they are having their annual membership meeting on February 21st. Can't remember what time. I think it was evening. Normally it's a potluck. There's some meats or enchiladas or something provided by the department, and then everybody can bring in a dish and have a nice meeting. They'll be discussing updating their logo, their budget, elections, and just overall membership for the department. So That's going to be a good time. You'll see flyers go out soon. If you're interested, definitely plan on coming by. I didn't say it on the record yet, but I did want to just let everybody know that the city's water is frozen, which is unfortunate. It was running and it still froze. And we've heard a couple of other services having similar issues. Public Works has been trying to work pretty diligently with people even for those private services, and doing a little research on some better equipment for the HDPE pipes. It's not like our old copper pipes that we can just hook onto and heat up and make a loop and heat. So just thinking through those steps moving forward. We also had some stormwater flooding in the East Addition that is continuing to clear, but we know with the freeze thaw, we're hearing concerns around the community of just a high water table. So definitely watch out for that. And let us know if anything's impacting city infrastructure. FY27 budget's well underway, including
Pretty.
Yes.
We have the yucky smell at the school playground again. I couldn't remember what
Yeah.
that was last time.
Yeah, no, that's every like spring thaw, and I don't know if it's the ground or there is a sewer pipe that runs through there, but it seems like it's more of a ground issue.
Okay, so it's just whatever drainage is over there just is unpleasant.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, so working on the FY27 budget, including the mid-year budget adjustments that were introduced this evening, and looking forward to having those conversations. Hopefully you guys are open to a work session prior to the next regular meeting, where we'll start some of those discussions in earnest and potentially even start that discussion on some of those financial policies. Had a great meeting today with our investment manager, talking about some of the things done in other communities. Excited to talk about that cash flow management policy with you guys. So you'll have to let us know your schedule and we can get that put on the calendar. And quick pool update, since we can keep this surprise for the council. The CIRSA sent out a mailer and posted information on social media requesting public input about a possible mill rate increase. The CIRSA is having a meeting tomorrow night at 5:15 p.m. to talk about their budget. And a special meeting will be held next Tuesday to receive public input regarding the possible mill rate increase. You should have received that mailer in the mail. If you didn't, let somebody with CIRSA know, as well as you could also do it online. But I think they're really hoping to get as much input as possible, good or bad. Really, just use your voice as a property owner. And I think everything else we've kind of gone through. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Heidi. Appreciate that. Anyone have any questions for the city manager on her report?
How far back, can I go back to Jack Luff Bay Dock, state lease? And my question was, is this on this environmental, we supposedly got a assessment or getting an assessment on it?
Through the mayor, yes, excellent question. I believe that the council directed me to proceed with looking into options for an environmental study in a phase 1 environmental study for that area at their last meeting.
Okay. And typically on signing a lease with them, this the environmental issue, it concerns me because if they don't give us a hold harmless prior to anything that happened, and what kind of insurance might be required in doing so, because sometimes that environmental can change things.
Yes, thank you for the feedback. So we're talking about the entry authorization, which gives us 3 years to work with DNR on the lease. It's not entering into the lease yet, but it's proceeding in that direction. So not holding the city to entering into that lease, but that we'll do an appraisal, we'll do the survey. They didn't require the phase 1 study. That was something that legal recommended, and then council sounded like we received that support at the last meeting. Please let me know if I'm going the wrong direction with that. So with that, we can take those steps and then make a determination prior to issuing a lease or being entered
Okay.
into a lease. I did go out there, I didn't mention it, but I did go out there to pick up and drop off ATS last week. And it was just kind of looking around and trying to get a better idea of what that cleanup would look like. It looks like there are 6 vehicles that are probably pretty derelict without tires and broken windows and things, and a couple of piles of debris. But overall, for the most part, it looks like most things are running and moving in and out. There was 6 obvious points, and then those debris piles, a couple smaller debris piles. I have pictures on my phone if you want to see them. But for an initial, that was heartening to see it for an initial cleanup. I don't think it's going to be like cleaning out an entire lot to start, but if we do a phased approach, start with those areas and make sure we're contacting property owners and making a plan for parking management moving forward. I feel like it's doable. It's just going to be a process.
Okay. The other thing I was in question, I know we received funds to purchase a backhoe. Is that correct?
I need to confirm it, but it sounds like that is the case. Yes.
And were those funds, is there any possibility that we could get funding for a maintenance facility for a new building to
So-
that same program, or?
Yes, with this year. So that was one of council's priorities for FY27. So we'll be entering that request this week for those funds. But again, it takes till the next legislative cycle where we're talking, or congressional cycle where they're talking about funding for those to potentially be appropriated. We've seen those appropriations bills not go anywhere, like FY25, and then FY24 we did receive funds. So there's an option, and we're going to seek it per council's authority, but there's no guarantee.
Okay.
Anyone else? Any further questions for the city manager? All right, thanks, Heidi. Appreciate your report. That was item N. Item O, informational items not requiring action. Looks like the city offices will be closed Monday, February 16th, 2026 in observance of President's Day. That'll take us down to item P, executive session. Looks like we do have an agenda item tonight for an executive session. Is there someone that would like to make a motion for that?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion. We move into an executive session pursuant to AS 44.62.310A to C 1 and 5, matters which by law, municipal charter, or ordinance are required to be confidential for confidential attorney-client privileged communication regarding city's exposure and potential litigation, case number 3HO25-00235C1, potential appeal renewal before May 31st, 2026, and invite the city manager and attorney Holly Wells.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to enter into executive session tonight. As member Keith Lee just read, we have a second by Barber. Any further discussion on that motion before we vote?
Mayor,
Yep, go ahead.
can I just point out that Councilmember Langbart has joined the meeting?
Oh, sorry. Yep, I saw her sign on. Yes, for the record, we do have a full council now. Thanks for reminding me of that. Okay, unless there's anything further, we'll go ahead and vote on the motion to enter into executive session tonight. All those in favor, Keith Lee? Oh,
Aye.
there we go. Langbart,
Aye.
Coleman,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
and Barber.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes all 6 in the affirmative, none opposed. With that, we will go ahead and enter into executive session. Let's see, Heidi or Liz, we have another link that we're gonna be going in, or what's the plan?
Yes, there was a executive session link that was emailed out to everybody online.
Okay, so that's in email then?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so we'll go ahead and sign out of this one, and we'll stand in recess of our regular meeting, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes here in the other link. Thank you.
Who made the scones?